Hello, it is Diane with Diane's Blue Hearts and Butterflies.com, and I have another fun fold idea that I wanted to share. The original fold idea came from Connie Stewart that I appreciate she shared with me, with other people too. But the designer series paper that I wanted to do this card with is the Delicate Dreams set, and it had such beautiful blues and greens, and it has this copper foil element to the paper. On the back side there's even some copper foil sheets. Oh, this is the Delicate Designs. I didn't use it, but I did use the Delicate Dreams in this card. I also used, I didn't have it for my original card here, but I got the Petals of Beauty suite of products in after I'd created it, and so this is the one I'm going to use for the idea today. I also used the Textured Notes stamp set and dies. This front piece I die cut using the Textured Notes, one of the Textured Notes dies, and then I used the Textured Notes stamps in this. And on the embossing on the inside, I did use an old embossing folder called Layered Leaves, but you can use whatever you have. And like I said, on my original one I didn't have the other stamp set yet, so the ones that you see here are actually from an old set. Petite Petals. I used some leaves and stuff from the Thoughtful Blooms, as well as a saying, and then the some leaves from What I Love. Just trying to use up what I have, or use things that I have as much as possible. But I also fell in love with this stamp set and dies, so I did go ahead and purchase those. And it just goes to show you can use what you have, you can buy new, you can do whatever you want. I just wanted to kind of focus more on the fun fold for this video to kind of show you how to put everything together. But let's go through the items that you'll need. Also, the dimensions of everything are going to be over on my blog at dianesblueheartsandbutterflies.com. I maintain a blog over there, and I have a lot of other projects, things that I share, my videos and everything. If you do enjoy the videos, I hope that you will subscribe to my channel, and if you click the bell icon, it'll let you know when I upload new videos, and you can check those projects out. You can also check out other projects. Some other things that I used on the card were some punched out elements. Then I did this because that's what I had at the time, and I used this bow punch for that, but you could use the dies that come with it to do that. Alright, so let's go through the things that you will need. It is going to use an 8.5 by 11 of a color cardstock. And then you would have another complementary color. I used Balmy Blue because that's what I had. And I cut 5 of these at 1 7/8 by 2 3/4. And then I embossed 2 of those for this card. I also had a white, because that's what goes with this. You could use vanilla, whatever goes with the paper you're using. So I did, okay, let me get those others out. So the one for this piece that I did, I cut a 2" by 3.5" piece of white, and then I die cut that label out. Then there is this piece that is 1 3/4 by 5 1/4, and you're going to score that in landscape at 2 5/8, or you can just fold it in half and then use your bone folder, because this is going to make the little card for the inside. Let me show that again. So when you open it up, there's this little card that actually opens up right here. So that's that piece. And then you have this little piece that goes on the other side, is 1 3/4 by 2 5/8. And then this is what I am going to put on the back of the card. I didn't do it on my the one that I made as a display for my class, but I wanted to do one here, and of course I made it a little bit too large, so I'm going to need to cut this down. It's going to be 5 1/4 by 3 3/4, and I'll fix that, put that on my blog for that. And then you're going to need some designer series paper. You can use the same design, you can use complementary designs, you can do any combination that you want. And so I think I am missing, oh, I am missing one. It's got to be around here. Well, I'll go over what I have. So the one that you'll need for the back piece is, well, this piece is 3 3/4 by 5 1/4. Then you're going to have 2 pieces of this one that is 1 3/4 by 5 1/4. Then you're going to have 2 pieces that are 1 1/4 by 5 1/4, and then 2 pieces that are 1 1/8 by 5 1/4. The one that Connie had done, she took just one design and then just flipped it over, I guess, and used the back side. I wanted to use 2 different designs that weren't on the same page. So the one that she started out with was 5 1/4 by 12, and then she cut it down into 3 3/4, 2 of them at 1 3/4, 2 of them at 1 1/4, and then that left 2 of them to cut it in half was 1 1/8. And so this one is going to be a little bit short, and I'll show you where that goes. So let me move these off to the side. I know I had that other piece and I don't know what happened to it. Let me set them off to the side here. So the trick to this, it's not trick, but it looks more complicated than it really is. But there is going to be a diagram, and Connie shared it on her site, and I will share it on mine. So this one, you're going to turn it in portrait, and you're going to cut the first part at 5 1/2, and you'll just cut that straight down. Then the little piece that's 3 inches, you're going to want to cut that down to 10 5/8. And 5/8 is halfway between the 10 1/2 and 10 3/4. So you're just cutting off a very little piece of that cardstock. Then you'll move your cutting blade out of the way because you're going to want to score. And so you're going to score at 2 1/8, which is between 2 and 2 1/4. You'll score that. Then 4 1/4. Then 6 3/8. Now on the new trimmer, the 3/8 is halfway between the 1/4 and the 1/2. And so if you find the 1/2 and you find the 1/4, it's halfway between that, which basically kind of lines up with where that white area starts again. That is the 6 3/8. And then you'll go over to 8 1/2 and score that. Then you'll bring back in your larger piece, and you're going to score that at 1 1/2, 3 1/2, 7 1/2, and then 9 1/2. And then next is the folding. You will want to make sure that you create crisp edges for all of these folds. So this is the center part, and you're going to fold both of these sides in towards that center. So this side, and then burnish really well. And then you'll fold this one, the score line right on the side over to that middle. And then these outer ones you're going to fold back. Like that. And then this will come in and meet. So this is the gate fold on this one. And you'll do the same thing on this one. This is the center part. You'll fold this over, burnish that edge really well, fold this side over towards the middle, burnish that really well. You might want to make sure that your sides are, your top and bottom are lined up really well. Get that. Let me double check myself over here. It's off just a little bit, so let me do that. And then you'll take and you'll fold that last one back. Now this one is not going to create a gate fold. It's going to be more of an interlocking. So this one goes in, this one goes out. So basically you end up with the mountains on the outside and the valleys toward the inside. And then this will fold together like this. And once you get it there, you may want to just go ahead and add some more burnishing just so that it gets exactly where it needs to be. And then that is that part. So then we will go over how to put this together. And I'm going to pause just a moment. I finally remembered what had happened is at the class, one of the people that came to that, they actually messed up their piece, so I gave them one out of the kit that I had. So that's what happened. So you will need to put all of your pieces together on here before you're going to combine these two together. And so you will take the adhesive and you're going to stick this together. This piece will go on the back. And I kind of hold mine up to hold the pieces up with my fingers under it, kind of line it out, and then that's where I know that it goes. And then I wanted to put more of a neutral color next to it so it's just not quite so busy. Oh, and of course my seal just ran out. So let me grab another one really quickly. Get my seal plus there. I had two of them run out on other cards earlier that I was making videos. So, and then these, that's the other thing is when you are cutting this, you want to pay attention if it is a directional paper that you see a direction. You want to make sure that the 5 1/4 is running this way, and then the sideways is the 1 3/4 or the 1 1/4, 1 1/8. Just pay attention to it. The 5 1/4 is the length, and that's well, you're going to want to have that on there. So let me. It's such a beautiful paper with this shiny element to it. It makes you wish that I had kind of a bronze foil that I could have added to here, but I did pull out some metallic gems that I'm going to use to embellish. Now you could make this with any type of celebration in mind, with any papers, any stamp set. Kind of just use what you have. And then I'm going to put this one over here. And then one out here on this edge. Now the last pieces are smaller, but if you're using a different paper, you could make them larger. I didn't, but it will not cover this whole section. So what you're going to want to do is adhere it close to out on this side. Have your border here, but not here. And this isn't really going to be seen anyway, so just it'll fit there. But Connie was doing it with a single sheet of the designer series paper to make it work, so, and the sizes just worked out that way. And you could always make them larger if you're cutting your own. You could make them actually fit, which would need to be the same as this one, which is 1 3/4 inch instead of the 1 1/8. And put that on there. Okay, so I've got that one together. Now I'm going to put this one together. And I love this new in color of the hydrangea hue, but I don't have it yet, so I'm using the balmy blue that I have. And I've already stamped my other pieces and my envelope using this stamp set. It's one of those kind of distinctive stamp sets that has the shading and everything already built into it. And I just thought it was really pretty. So that's why, of course, I had to do that. It's not like I don't have enough flowers and butterflies, because that is something that I, as you can tell by the name of my blog, that is one of the things I do. A friend of mine and I, that was our favorite thing, was blue hearts and butterflies and all that. And so this one goes on the center one. The other decorative one you'll put on the further side. There it goes. And then the front piece, you're going to actually put your message on for the front of the card. So you can save that one to the end. If you wanted to, you could always stamp and die cut one of these flowers and put it on the front too, just as a pop-up embellishment if you would like. So now I'm going to assemble this part and put it together and put these pieces over here, creating the little borders. I just didn't want to take all the time. The other thing is, if you're using the Seal Plus and you've embossed something, sometimes it really does start tearing because the fibers of that cardstock are already loosened up, and so it may not work very well. So if you're good with liquid glue, that might be an option to use. If you're not like me, I'm challenged when it comes to liquid glues, so I needed to use the tear and tape. And one of the great things is the take your pick tool with the piercing tool attachment to get those backings off. You could probably use another one of the attachments, but I really love my old piercing tools that I've had over the years, and so I went ahead and invested in that extra set of attachments for the take your pick tool for this. There's a few others. There's the craft knife. There is a little rotary blade that kind of makes things like a punched thing. I haven't used that yet. And several others. And so now I'm going to put this one. Sometimes you have to get that thing running, and then to keep it from tearing, you may want to put your finger on that tape right there to kind of hold it, and then again creating that border. And then this one you'll go ahead and glue it on, but you won't glue the front label on until you get it together. Now this one is going to glue on top of this one. You're going to fold this together like this. You're going to add, I'm using tear and tape on this one because I just really want it to be a strong hold. And just going to put 3 lines of it because I don't want it to come apart. after I've given it to somebody. And then you're going to kind of line this up to get this straight. You don't have to like measure, but if you do want to use your grid paper as kind of a guideline of where that center is, you can do that. But the reason that we do just the center first is because once you, when we get ready to put the sides on, we need to have this already stuck in place so that we know where to stick the other sides. So again, make sure that it's facing the right way, that you haven't made any turns, and then you line that up as good as you can. Like I say, I try to hold mine up with my fingers underneath it till I get it where I want it, trying to keep it straight. The card is crooked. I think it's right about there. Now, this side is going to fold over. You're going to put some seal or tear and tape or whatever you want just on this one edge, and then you'll fold it over to get on top of that one. You'll fold that back. This one will fold in over here because you've lifted this piece right here. You'll fold this back. You're going to add again your either seal or tear and tape. You may want to start with the one on the inside first and then work your way out because it's a little bit harder once this is up in the air. I'm going to try that a little bit more right. Of course it's going to, and it's tearing. Okay. I have some issues sometimes with the tape. That's why I always have the tear and tape close by. It's one of my go-tos. Alright, so now you've got this one laid in. You'll put this one here. And then it opens up like this. And then it closes together like this. And then that's when you'll bring this piece in. And you're going to adhere it to the front of the card. You can pop it up if you want, but it is very thick, so you may not want to add any thickness to your card. And so just make sure that you're only putting the glue on the center part where it's going to adhere to that middle part. So I'm going to add that right here. And then, oh, and I forgot something. Well, it's a good thing I don't have it very glued down. So I'm going to add some of these punched elements that I have, just with glue dots underneath. And I just strategically place a couple of glue dots under, making sure I haven't missed any. Here, and then I will stick this one under here, and I'll add this other one. The mini glue dots are really great because if it's a little bit bigger than what you need, you can always roll it up, but they are so small that most of the time they fit just perfectly behind a leaf in a strategic spot. And I'm going to lift that up. Put that out of there. And if you want, you could go ahead. You just want to make sure you don't want to glue it down to that side. It could glue down here a little bit. I think I'm going to just put a little bit of this there. And I went ahead and I used one of my old ribbons. I am trying to use up a lot of my old product stuff because my craft room has gotten so full and everything got put away, so I've forgotten about everything, but I wanted to use up what I have, so I'm pulling everything out for people in my classes to use so that we can get it used up. My daughter, every time that I show her a new ribbon, she's like, no more ribbon. I have a whole entire wall of ribbon. And then I'm just going to add this there. And like I said, you could always add some other another flower if you wanted to stamp one and die cut it out. I'm gonna take and roll some of this glue dot and put behind here. It's sticking to me. And then put it back behind here so that it just kind of looks intentional. And then I also created this piece for the back so that I could write another message, because there's not a whole lot of room to write a message in here, but it is still very pretty. I'm going to just have something there, but I am going to just add this to the back. Make sure I'm still right side up. Sometimes I get a little off, and I just figured out, I remembered that I forgot to cut this down, so I'm going to take and cut off, should have been 3 3/4. I'm going to fix that on my blog, 3 3/4 instead of 4. Add a little bit more adhesive right there that I cut off. All right, and this is going to be approximate because of course I didn't measure it, but close enough. Nobody knows but us. That's what I keep telling people in my class. And then I pulled out these metallic gems because it had this really pretty kind of a, it's not really copper, it's more of a brass that I thought went with the paper. In fact, I think I'm going to just do 3 of these on that right there. I might add just a couple of others over there. And then you have a really pretty card. The ladies were very impressed with how easy it really was. And then it stands up very well on the desk and or on a mantle or wherever you want to have that displayed. I hope that you enjoyed that and that you will check out my blog. If and it's dianesblueheartsandbutterflies.com, and I hope that you'll share this project with others that may like it, and that you'll be able to enjoy making a bunch of cards with that. I appreciate you spending your time with me. Thank you.